everyone, welcome to another episode of Qrow's Corner, a quick review of this week's episode of RWBY. And today we're talking about episode 4.8, A Much Needed Talk, which aired on December 31st, 2016. And as always, there will be spoilers, but here there are some major spoilers, and it's going to be a slightly longer episode for all the stuff that they talked about here. It's a new year, 2016 is finally dead, but they just couldn't resist one last cliffhanger, could they? The episode focuses on two areas, Team Ranger and Blake in Menagerie. I'm starting with Blake since there's a lot more going on with Team Ranger. In Menagerie, Callie pushes Blake into having a private chat with her father. Now, ever since she arrived, you could see there was this reservation on Blake's face about her family. And Blake's hesitation is particularly focused on her father, Qrow. He is a big personality after all, but we're not exactly sure why she's so put off when she arrives home. And then Callie also uses the opportunity to learn some backstory from Sun and get some more of Blake's exploits in Vale. It is clear her parents love her, which is so different from the Schnee household. And her exchange with her father is awkward, as she really wants to avoid the heavier talk. But even Qrow seems to be struggling with the small talk, and he makes some very fatherly comments about her outfit. We love her outfit, he might not. We do get confirmation, though, as to why she is so nervous, and she's actually shaking before she goes in to speak with Qrow. Blake feels guilty about following Adam and ultimately doing some very bad things with him. She's afraid her parents have judged her to be a bad person for following such a radical. But Qrow reassures her that they are proud of who she's become. Even if she started down a darker path, she corrected and faced her demons, which Qrow says takes a lot of strength. Blake is vulnerable here, and it makes it a very tender moment. They actually have the music of All Our Days playing during this conversation. And then Sun barges in and ruins it, as he is wont to do, though he does have a reason for eavesdropping. In his conversation with Callie, she tells him that the White Fang doesn't wear masks in Menagerie, but he says that he saw one, and he even has a picture of it on his scroll. That's when they discover they're being watched, and I'm sure that Adam is soon to show up after this event, and it's all the more reason why Blake and Sun go chasing after this spy. That's really all we get from that. They just go chase after her, but it'll be interesting to see what this leads to, but my guess is Adam is coming. We then go back to Mistral, to Team Ranger, and we finally get some much-needed answers, and then some more questions, of course. By the time the episode begins, Qrow has already dropped some knowledge about the Maidens. It doesn't reveal anything we don't already know about the Maidens specifically, and everyone has different reactions to his revelation, but Jean in particular is pretty upset, and obviously because of Pyrrha. But Qrow does make it clear that Pyrrha made the choice, although Jean does have a point as well. They gave her the choice to make in the first place. But they finally confirm that silver-eyed warriors do have powers, because before it was vague enough for debate. When Qrow talked to RWBY at the end of Volume 3, he did talk about it as legend, but here he does finally confirm it for real. Now, they still haven't said that having silver eyes means RWBY cannot become a maiden, but I think most of us would rather that she not be one, though it could make the story interesting if she is. I'd say at this point, it's probably best if she does not become a maiden. RWBY then asks what we're all thinking. Why didn't Qrow just travel with Ranger if he's been protecting them in the first place? Jean aptly points out that Qrow was actually using them as bait, and in a sense he is and he isn't. But it does make you wonder what his end goal was. Was it to track Tyrion? Was it to know who the enemy was, to draw them out? Obviously, Tyrion escaped, so either that wasn't his purpose, was to draw them out or to track them back to Salem, or Qrow's injury hindered him such that they couldn't pursue him. But it's also possible that he meant to follow them to Haven before finding out Salem's next plan, and just kind of assumed that they could get attacked on the road, or it wouldn't happen until they made it to Haven. But we do know that's where Salem is attacking next. We already know Watts is headed that way. And Qrow believes so also by deducing it based on Cinder. Her cover during the Vital Festival was that they were from Haven. Qrow then goes into some Remnant mythology that Ozpin had told him about two brother gods, the god of light and the god of darkness. Now these two are at odds. Basically, the god of light creates life and all things living, and the god of darkness seeks to destroy those things. But it's confirmed here that the god of darkness is the one that created the Grimm to combat life and Remnant. But apparently the god of light overpowered darkness, but they came to an understanding that the two of them would make one last masterpiece creation together, and so together they created mankind. Inherent in that was they gave mankind choice. They gave them free will to either choose a path of light or a path of darkness. So ultimately what this is we're given a creation story. So sorry, no evolution here. That actually might be true. Now these gods gave mankind 4 gifts. They gave them knowledge, creation, destruction, and choice. These gifts exist in physical form as relics, which are protected by the 4 academies. Having them at the academies ensures that they will always be protected in theory, because there's always huntsmen and huntresses in range of the academy. And also hiding them protects mankind from using them, especially against themselves, as they would be quite powerful and quite destructive to humanity. This is huge because it finally puts everything up to this point into its proper perspective. We knew Salem was seeking these relics, but now we know why they are so important. We know what they are. And that's why she also wants the power of the 4 maidens to get them. She basically is taking everything humanity has to use it against them. But it also does throw some theories into question about Salem, like how old she is. Originally, I thought that Salem might be the one who actually created the Grimm, that it was this chess match between her and Ozpin, which it might still be, but Qrow admits that there's very little still known about her, so there's no new information here, but it does make us question some of those theories we do have about Salem. However, it does raise the question of why Beacon was attacked then, specifically during the festival, as well as why they didn't simultaneously attack the other academies, as all of the best huntsmen and huntresses were in Vale at the time during the festival. Now my best guess is that the sheer amount of fear and panic would help strengthen the Grimm in order to breach the vault, but they didn't account for RWBY, obviously, and so now that vault is for the moment protected thanks to RWBY bringing out her silver eye power. But it does beg the question, why don't more people know about this, or do they? Obviously, they don't want chaos, they don't want panic, but as far as we know, only 4 seem to be in on all of this knowledge, and that would be Ozpin, Ironwood, Glinda, and Qrow. Pyrrha was in the know on it, but now she's gone. But Qrow says that Salem's goal is to divide humanity, but they've also seemingly let it happen. And this will clearly become a point of contention as more information unfolds, but it does make you wonder, what was their goal? What was their plan originally? Because it almost seems like they didn't actually do anything and they allowed this to happen. Luckily, RWBY is all business and wants to know what she can do to fight. That's her MO, that's her character. She wants to continue fighting. But at the same time, she's upset that Qrow never told her this before. She's sad that he couldn't trust her with this. And his answer is that he basically was born unlucky and brings misfortune to any of those around him. It does explain a lot about his character, unfortunately. It explains his attitude, it explains his drinking. And during the scene, we actually also see another blackbird shows up as he walks off into the woods. And again, I think this is Raven, which is why he wasn't really willing to give any more information at that point. And just to prove how unlucky he is, at the end of the episode, he succumbs to Tyrion's venom in the very last shot. Is he dead? They don't explicitly say, but sadly, I think that he is. So let's riot. This was a long episode with a ton of information, some brand new and just some confirmations. If Qrow is in fact dead, this is really a sad revelation, and it makes you wonder how Ranger is going to fare on their own without his protection. There is still a lot of exposition that we haven't had, and some of the best characters for giving it are vanishing. But at least we got some answers to the bigger picture that we have sorely needed up to this point. And with 4 episodes to go in this volume, there's no telling what is going to happen. There are so many loose ends right now. Just pour one for our homie Qrow. And riot. But don't worry, the Qorner will always be here. Let me know your thoughts on this episode. Was there anything I missed? What are some of your theories on some of this new information that we have out of this episode? And that does it for this episode of Qrow's Corner. I'll see you guys after the next episode. Bye-bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Nice work. Good job. If you like what you saw, you can just go ahead and click that subscribe button for all videos past and future. You can also head over to my website and see all the other stuff that I do, including the books I've written. So go ahead, click stuff.